Hello there, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about Warcraft, the new movie based on a video game. Those are the words that would strike fear into your heart because of so many bad video game based movies. I mean, we've got the Super Mario Brothers, we have Street Fighter, both versions, we have Mortal Kombat, we have all these films. None of them have been good. Even people say Mortal Kombat 1's good. It's not a good film. It's not good at all. It's terrible. It's funny, campy, but it's not good. It's not anyway good. It's unintentionally funny. So it's such a low bar. It's barely a bar how bad these films have been. I mean, it's not a surprise because video games are based on, very base narratives. And it's not the point. The games aren't the point to have a drama. The point is to have fun with a character in this very absurdist, cartoonish world. Whether it be like a 8-bit moving character with a lot of it's through the gameplay, or even like a Assassin's Creed type of story where you're going through cities, it's an open world. It's still very cartoonish. I mean, something can be subtly cartoonish, but it's still a cartoonish thing where you always end up going back to your base character, so no one ever really moves on. So it's not really a narrative, it's a series of episodes, and that's really what video games are. And that's what causes a lot of them to be not interesting for adaptation. I mean, they're fun experiences, they work as experiences, but they're a different art form, so they don't really work as for movies because the basics of what you need to make them work are very different. And some people even think they're not in that form yet, that's kind of stupid. It's just an evolving thing that no one's quite worked out. I mean, they get the respect now that movies got in like the 30s. Some are good, but we still don't want to be too respectful of them. It's that kind of thing. Even though there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on, and they're building a variety now of genres where you have very game-based video games, you have very narrative-based video games. They're trying to evolve with your VR coming out, so they're trying to evolve, but it's still in that kind of early state of working out the various ways it can develop as a medium. So you've lots of people saying that's the best way for video games to be, that's the best way for video games to be, different ideas of what the best thing is. But like anything else, the variety is going to keep it going, where one year it's going to be good for like a narrative based game, next year's going to be good for something else. So there's a variety of type of things, but despite all that, the narratives are never complicated enough to work as a movie. So movies need different narratives, and a long form video game narrative is too long for a movie, because a movie is a short compressed story, makes a novella length story, and the longer video games are probably more like a novel length. So they don't even work for that because they're not really the right length for our actual video film story. So with all those problems, and which something Warcraft has a problem with, but despite that, this is easily the best video game movie. I mean, because it feels like a movie, even though there's lots of CGI and there's lots of orcs and everything's based on the lore of the video game. Because in a lot of video games you can build lore into, even if it's not the main point of the gameplay. Because people like the world, they'll put little lore into. You can find lore along the way, you can find information about certain things, so it becomes a little side quest for yourself just to find out more and more about the world through these little side quests. So you have lots of stuff like that throughout the film, little details that would really help you. But there's still a narrative base, so it does like move away from what a video game actually does, and actually has its own narrative. And this can get a lot of hate because I think it's the first time they've actually really tried to do this. They've really tried, and it's getting confusion. Some people just genuinely don't like it. It's one of those films that I think there's something in the film that makes some people just not like it. But there's other elements. I think there's some snobbishness coming to this film, like saying, are you trying to be a serious film? A video game movie, you try to be serious? Same way you speak with comic book movies, like you can't be serious, you have to be silly, so we can look down upon you and say you're silly. It's that kind of thing. So I think some of it's get backlash from people not wanting to accept that you can do a video game movie but still have themes that are interesting. And this film does. So there's lots of things in it that really are worth exploring. But I think it has a major backlash from people who don't want to give it a chance. And it's also Duncan Jones, the director, has his third film, and the last two were really well received critically. So this is his first big budget film, and he's getting a kicking. and he's been treated very unkindly, I think, by a lot of critics. I think there's lots of people saying this is one of the worst films ever made and stuff. And it's like, what film are you watching? This is hyperbolic. This is really stupid criticism. You know, it's dumb. It's not just like, oh, allow people with a point of view. It's not. This is stupid. It's not. It's well made, well crafted film. You may not like it, but that's it. You know, it's still properly made. It's properly directed. There's scenes. There's story developments. It's done as a film. So people saying that are just dumb. You're not just being like silly. You're being dumb because you're not actually looking at the craftsmanship. You're not even being objective. What you're saying, you're just thinking your subjective point of view must be respected or something. It's not. I can say I liked the film. You can say it's a bit of taste, but the actual film itself is objectively well made in lots of ways. So you can't say, oh, it's the worst film ever made. But it's been getting a lot of stuff like that. A lot of, you know, bad responses, lots of snobbishness. But a lot of films in the past have had the same thing that have turned out to be masterpieces. I mean, you look at what happened with John Carpenter's The Thing. That's one. There's multiple occasions where Peeping Tom, lots of great films are hated on release just because they don't live up to what the critics want. They're just not what the critics want at the time, and they hit something below the surface that makes everyone just come out and get them. I think this film's had a bit of that as well. I think it's a much more interesting film than has been given its due. So that's my first main point. Let's be going for a while because I think I've got a lot to say about this one. Yeah, it's a really, you know, subjectively for me it's a really good film. Objectively it's a well crafted film. Because I mean, the build up, the start, a basic story is these immigrants, which are orcs, are coming into this new area which is filled by humans. The leader is a bit of a psycho, and he's doing things that are going to cause problems for them dealing with the humans. The humans themselves are paranoid, they have their own divisions, they have their own problems, and both sides end up fighting. That's the basic story. It's more complicated because you have stuff like magic in it, and you get sorcery and things like that, which puts a lot of people off. You have lots of weird names. Certain names are very basic. There's something called a Guardian, which has always sounded like a bad 80s movie villain, you know. That kind of thing to deal with because it came from a video game, and certain elements that carried over weren't as well thought of as they should have been, but you're still sticking to that because you're trying to be loyal. There's stuff like that that actually happens in the film that you just have to accept as, okay, that's a genre. But the basic accept that that's a genre with a western or a comedy. That's what makes the films work. And it's kind of amazing how bad the reviews have been because of, if you look at something like The Hobbit isn't half as well crafted as this film. The Hobbit had 9 hours of basically nothing happening, with apart from a couple of action scenes and very little dramatic tension. You know, and I get a free pass with a lot of these guys who have trashed in this film. And it's just ridiculous. So, you've got that. You've also got the fact that the film treats the story seriously, but not like to a point where it's hokey. It treats it like a drama. Like, these orcs, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but a lot of them are trying to make do with a bad situation. The same with humans. Not everyone agrees with each other, everyone's kind of their own political agenda, but they have to try and make do with what they've got. So you have both sides like coming in a situation like that, which is much more realistic than some of the Lord of the Rings where it's the ultimate evil or something like that, and it's like, which is a lot easier to deal with as a narrative thread, but it's not actually very satisfying. for a rewatch, because it's just, there's no such thing as ultimate evil. It's just, that's just our conceit. You know, there are evil people in the world, there's been evil organisations, but the ultimate evil is just an invention. But that's the kind of thing that Lord of the Rings deals with. But this one doesn't. It's like, it's much more shades of grey. I think that's caused some problems because people don't like you to go that far into, how dare you have that kind of complexity within a narrative that's full of goblins and magic. It's like, you can't do that. Of course, they do that in Game of Thrones, but because Game of Thrones has sex and a very long running time, where they started with the realism and built up towards the fantasy, that's acceptable. You start with the fantasy and say accept these orcs as humans, or accept them as people with emotions, it becomes a lot more difficult. I think that there is a pushback. There's always a pushback, I think, because the effects aren't trying to be realistic. You know, it's a fantasy world. They spent a lot of money to make the characters, the orc characters, work as orcs, as something in this world. They are CGI, they didn't try to hide the fact that CGI. CGI is a stylisation. That's what it is now. A lot of people hate it because it's not the old school makeup things from the 80s. And that was a stylisation as well, which could be hokey as hell. This is our stylisation. The way Star Wars was hated, the new Star Wars films were hated, like the prequels, because there were a lot of CGI. The way a lot of films have been hated because it's some CGI. That's a stylisation. It's like, you either like it or you don't, it's a stylisation. You have to actually get into it. I don't really mind that, because I think that's just a valid stylisation. But for a lot of people, it's something else. It's something they really angry about. Like, how dare you use lots of CGI? That's wrong. Somehow that's wrong. And it's not. It's just a stylisation. It's just nothing else. It's one way to do it. You can do it that way. You can do it with lots of makeup. You know, you can do it with lots of ways. But this is the way they chose to do it. And they didn't try and make everything look perfect and try and make it look as realistic as possible. They did it more akin to the way Robert Zemeckis has been doing with something like Beowulf or Christmas Carol, where it's not real cartoon, it's somewhere in between, and that just aggravates people because this thing in their head, it has to be one thing. It has to be a full cartoon or it has to be realism. It can't be in between. Like, you can't accept that in between point, and that's what this film lives. It's the in between thing of, this is based on a game. We're trying to be loyal to the design, but we're also creating these characters, and we're even saying to you, this isn't real, but please go with it. And it's causing problems for people, I think, and I don't know why, because it's just, again, it's a stylisation. But it puts a lot of people off, and it's given the film a lot of difficulties. The other problem that people have been having with, one of the other problems is you're mixing that with characters, with actual actors playing these characters on sets, doing it a much more old-fashioned style of filmmaking, which I think is quite good, because the actual actors are dressed in a slightly stylistic way as well. They're not trying to make them look realistic. They're not trying to make them like using like old clothes, something that would be realistic towards a medieval time. They give them armour, they give them these stylised clothes that matches the world cut with the orcs as well. So it's not real realism, it's something else. And you're meant to accept that, but you're also meant to accept these people with human problems. And again, I think the style of how they chose to do it is just creating a, you know, like, I can't deal with this situation. I mean, it reminds me a lot of things like Speed Racer or the Ang Lee Hulk, which also were very stylised films that weren't telling you to accept this as reality. They were saying you have to use your imagination with this thing because they're doing it a certain way. And it just puts people's back up. The same thing's happening here. People are just getting like, oh, you can't do this. Just do something we're comfortable with. Don't do this. This is just wrong. Or you look at something like One from the Heart, which is a Francis Coppola film, which did the same thing. It's realism mixed with stylisation, but it's not giving you the most basic, easy ways into it. And you see that all the time in like 60s movies. and he expected the audience to be able to keep up. And I think audiences can keep up. I think it's just critics can't, because a lot of critics are stupid. You know, they're idiots. And they want, it's a curtain kicker thing. They want it to be a certain thing, certain amount of jokes, certain morality, that's it. I've just said something that people hate. But I will. But yeah, I mean, it's a stylization, it's an approach that just people don't like, or some people don't like, and it creates this backlash, and it takes people a long time to get their heads around the way those kind of things were done. So within this kind of cartoonish scope, you've got an actual plot which is about people trying to deal with these basic immigrants and who are very strong, who they can't really bully off their world or off their land, and they might be more convinced they have to go and fight them. And you know, and both sides are not going to agree, and both sides have people who are trying to make peace and try what the situation the best they can and try and find some sort of peace that everyone can live with. And then there's other ones who just want all the power for themselves and who want their way or no way. And they clash and people die and people betray each other. And it feels really interesting. When I was watching the film, it felt like I was watching a melodrama. It's a melodrama that isn't done very often. Michael Powell used to do these kind of melodramas a lot, where it was serious, but it knew it was a film at the same time. That really is something that's a lost art. This film is doing the same thing, where there's some serious emotions going on. People are looking at each other, trying to find whether they can trust each other or not. People are reacting to the families dying, to tragedy. Also something to be humour as the situations evolve. It's a melodrama, but it's taken very seriously, like it's a tragedy. And you just have to go with it, and they really went for it. They didn't hold back and try to be ironic and try and make it easy for people. So I kind of kicked into it pretty quickly. I just loved the style, and you see exactly what they were doing. It was like, this is a defined way to do this film, and we're going to do it, we're just going to go for it, and that's it. You like it or you don't. A lot of people just backed away from it, but I think it's a very admirable film. I think there's lots of really good stuff in it. Yeah, there's flaws. I mean, it feels like it's been cut down from a longer film, been cut, and there's bits in the beginning where basically they do a lot of horse riding from place to place with not enough scenes on those places to get the characterization up and running. I think some of those scenes must have been cut down a little bit, because it just feels like you feel you're missing something there. And there's bits and bobs throughout the film where you feel that there might have been a bit more that would have given the scenes a bit more weight. But apart from the first like 10 minutes, there's not really much of that. I always feel that you're given enough to see what's going on. There's lots of little details that the acting, even if they're doing something you've seen a million times before, they do little character moments that actually give a lot more information about the character and give you a lot more information about what's going on, what it means to someone, just by someone, how someone physically interacts with either their son, their friend. Just little details, they spend a lot of time in that, and actually it pays off. So when someone dies, it means something. It's not just, oh, this person's died. It's like they've got friends, they've got family, people are going to miss them, and they actually just go for it. And again, it's nice to have a bit slightly longer film, and it would give you a bit more details about that, but it still works, it still really delivers on what you need as a viewer. So that works really well. I mean, the actors are given very stylised performances. I mean, a lot of them have been pillared by the critics for being over the top or something, but they're just into what the directors asked them to do, which is to not be quite real but not be too fake either. It's like real emotions but a slightly hyper delivery. And some people just don't get that. It's like this isn't quite realism the other way. They see realism. Realism, there's no such thing as realism in acting. It's whatever style is at the time. So whatever looks realistic just now will look fake in 10 years time. It's always evolving. And this is a much older style of acting. It's the same thing that happened with Crimson Peak like 6-7 months ago, where that was very stylized acting, and a lot of people didn't appreciate the acting there because it was like, that's not realistic. Same thing here, it's not meant to be realism, it's meant to be something else. And it kind of drives me nuts when people just can't see that they have to look at it using like a different way of looking at films, or they actually have to have like some historical perspective. I mean, let's think of a film where you give it to a critic who doesn't know much beyond Star Wars and a couple of popular films in the last decade. They're going to be lost because they don't understand what type of film it actually is. And that's why sometimes it helps to have critics who actually know something about the history of cinema. Because if you don't, this film's going to lose you pretty quick. And you can't just get away with saying, oh, it sucked, because it didn't. It was a different stylisation. The critics who said that probably suck because they just want something they can understand. But it doesn't fit into how they understand it. It's a problem. But this is a really interesting film, and it deserves a lot more attention and respect that it's getting. But it's just not getting it. It's just like getting like horrible reviews. It's getting, you know, just non-stop being crapped on. You know, other films are much worse. I mean, Batman vs Superman get better reviews, and it's by far a worse film. It's so much worse than this. This is a much better film than a lot of films. It's much better than X-Men Apocalypse, getting a lot better reviews than this. It's one of the stronger films in the last few months. And it's just, it's a very different type of film, so they just can't get it. And the CGI thing, you just put people off because you can't just work out what they're supposed to be. And there's some performances that are really funny, which are unappreciated, like Ben Foster as this guy who is the guardian of the people, but it turns out he's betrayed everyone, but maybe been trading them unconsciously. You never know quite where he fits, but he's really funny and he's really amusing, and there's a kind of tragedy to him because the way he plays it, like he knows he's doomed somehow. So it just, because he goes full into the stylization, he can deliver a lot, even though he's given what might seem a minor performance. It's all the subtle looks he's given that actually tell you a lot about him. But that's lost. The lead actor's good. He's been hated on by a lot of reviews, saying he's bland. It's like, what film are you watching? He's giving this kind of melodramatic performance, but it's still very subtle. I mean, he's still a leader who can't really react that much because he has to lead his men. But he's done a lot of subtle things with his eyes, and he has raised the performance to be in a certain style which is out with what you're used to. But he still knows what he's doing, he still knows what he's delivering. So when he has to react to his son dying, it's a very real performance, even though it's stylized at the same time. Now you can laugh and say it's an old style, I don't like that, but then you're just being a dope. It's just you have to appreciate the film for what it is and what it's, the style it's aiming at, and not what you wanted. So, I mean, I think a lot of fans of the game will like this film because it's been loyal to the game, and some people are now starting to appreciate it. It's a lot better than, you know, the initial reviews suggested, but it's getting a lot of hate. I mean, it's undeserving. The funny thing is, I was never a big Duncan Jones fan, the guy who made this one. I mean, The Moon was loved by most people and I thought it was fine, but I never loved it. Source Code I really liked until the ending, and I thought, what do you do to the ending? This is like my favourite of his films, and it's the one, it's not getting a lot of love, but it seems like it's very confidently made. Like, he knows what he's going for, he's trying something outside what he's done in the past, he's trying to do something slightly new, and he's stretched beyond what people want to accept from him. But I think that's what he should be doing, and he should be getting some support, and that's all he's getting is a lot of spite and bile, and how dare you try and be beyond our indie darling expectations. It's kind of what Gareth Edwards got with Godzilla, which was better received than this, but it's still got a lot of hate for not doing exactly what people expected from him. And it's like, you have to want films to be different for each other. You can't expect them to just be the same thing, which I think is what's happening. A lot of critics, they want it to be within a certain guideline of what they think of right for the modern audience. And it should never really be that. It's always something. It should always be something unique. And you can say, I didn't appreciate this. This was a stylization that was too far from me. But let's be honest about it rather than just saying, "Oh, this is bad." You know, at least have the education in the medium to actually know what you're talking about, rather than just bashing someone for doing something that's different from what you've experienced. And this film just get trashed for lots of reasons. It wasn't his fault. So that's a very long review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you go and see this film. Even if you miss it in the cinema, try and catch it later, because I think it's going to be a worthwhile film. I think it's definitely going to be a cult film, as people appreciate his virtues rather than just looking at what the more conventional film they expected. So I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.